it's Miss Molly here. Thank you for joining me for another art project. Today our word is design. A design is using color, shapes, and lines to create a pattern or decoration. So you might look around your house and see if you can find any patterns or designs, maybe on a rug or a blanket. Today I'm going to show you how to design one of my favorite summer treats, a popsicle. So let's get started. In the visual arts, a design is a pattern or decoration using colors, lines, and shapes. What colors, lines, and shapes do you see in this Mondrian painting? In this radial design, the lines, shapes, and colors radiate out from the center. Which shoe design do you like the best and why? Okay, so what you need to do this project is 3 popsicle sticks, a glue stick, a pencil, scissors, and some different colored papers. I didn't really have any different color papers, so I was a problem solver and I used my watercolors to paint some smaller color papers. The first thing you're going to do is choose a base color for your popsicles, and you're going to make the shape of the popsicle. So I've told you before, it helps to take your finger and trace that shape to kind of practice. I also sometimes draw a dot where I want my popsicle shape to reach to, so it helps me as a guide. So I'm going to make a big, tall rainbow. Or if you want to think of it this way, you can do a big U. Look at that one, see if you're happy with it. If you're not, you can try some more. I think that is a good popsicle shape, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. My time, using my scissor skills, turning my paper. Now that you've cut one that you like, you can actually use this as a tracer to make your 2 other popsicles. So I'm going to put this here, trace, trace. This way they are all the same shape. And now I can cut these out. Our next step is to start designing our popsicle sticks. Remember, a design is making a decoration or pattern with lines, shapes, and colors. So we have our colors here, and I'm going to show you some tricks to turn these into lines and shapes. So when you're cutting, you can think of little tricks you can use. For example, I'm going to cut some triangles out of this paper. Instead of just drawing a triangle in the middle and cutting one triangle out, I'm going to use strips. So I'm going to cut this into a long strip. Now I'm going to cut a zigzag. So I'll snip all the way to that side and go back to this side. And as you snip, you'll see you are cutting triangles. So that's a quick way to cut lots of triangles. And I'm going to put these to the side so I can make a design with them. Now if you wanted smaller triangles, that's a good idea to cut some large ones and some small ones. So with my yellow, I'm going to cut a smaller strip, and I am going to do some taller triangles. So I'm not going to angle my scissor as much, and I'm just going angle that way, angle that way, angle, angle, and look how many triangles I got in that short amount of time. So this is a good trick that you can use. Also thinking, like I said before, that these will look good stacked on top of each other and overlapped to make different designs. The next trick I'm going to show you is how to make some rectangles and squares quickly. So I'm going to take my red paper, and again you're going to do a strip. So I'm going to cut some different size strips. I'm going to cut a narrow strip. I'm going to cut a wide strip. And I'm going to save this for another shape. Now say you want some rectangles here. You can just, again, like the scissors, cut down the strip. I can get some really narrow, long rectangles. Or I can get some wider rectangles. So this strip strategy really works to get a lot of shapes. Let me try some squares. I'm going to go ahead and just cut, snip, snip down the row to get lots of squares. What other shapes can you make quickly with this strip strategy? You're probably thinking, I can't make circles that way. Well, let's see how we could make circles. I'm going to use this purple paper. Does it make sense for me to draw a circle right in the center and use this whole paper to make one circle? No, I'm going to stop and think, and I'm going to put my circle on the edge so I can make lots of circles. If you like being more precise, you can find something like your glue stick to trace, and that way you can get a nice perfect circle. I'm going to make another big circle here. Now I can fold my paper in half, so when I cut this circle out, I can have two circles. So I'm really using most of my paper. So instead of just getting one circle, how many circles do you think I am going to make? Pinching and turning, and it's okay if they're not perfect. Just try your best. You can always trim them later. So I made 6 circles out of that one small piece of paper. So when you're done with the scrap, it should really look like you used it. It shouldn't be too much left. I'm even going to be super resourceful. I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to trim this, because artists don't like to waste much. There's always more you can use, and I'm going to use this to make a few rectangles. I still have a few more papers, so I'm going to get creative, and instead of just cutting a straight strip, I'm going to think of different kinds of lines, like a wiggly line or a wavy line. What kinds of lines can you think of besides straight? Maybe you can do a zigzag. Maybe you can do I call this castle wall, because it looks like the top of a castle. So if you have some extra paper, see if you can get creative and think of some different kinds of lines you can cut. And now we are ready to make our decoration. So you might start with some of your longer strips. I'm going to glue the back. And I'm going to press it down really good. Now you'll notice this doesn't fit, no problem. I'm going to turn it around and trim off the rest. I think I'm going to put another stripe on this one. Put it on the edge, turn it around, cut off the extra. Let's already starting to look pretty good. I think I'm going to do some circles on this one. I'm going to do a circle in the middle. Now another trick might be, say you want more circles but you can't fit them. In a real pattern, it might go off the edge, so you can also trim other shapes that don't fit on your popsicle. So if I turn this around, I see that the edge of the circle would not fit. There's a pretty good design on my popsicle. Now I could leave it like this, or I could build it up by overlapping. That means putting shapes on top of each other. So for example, I could take some of my small red squares and I could put them on top of another shape that I made. I think as an artist, the more you build up the design, usually the better it looks, as long as you don't cover the whole thing. Maybe I could take some of these yellow triangles and overlap them on top of my purple circle. I'm going to put this one up, and to make a pattern, I think I'm going to put this one down and this one down. Yeah, I think that looks good. So I'm going to turn this over. Trim and trim, and once you're done with one, you want to make sure you press down really, really good. You want your art to always stay together. If there's any little areas that are popping up, stick a little glue under there and press it down really, really good. Okay, so now use your shapes to make a design. Try to make each one different. And try overlapping, putting some papers on top of each other to make your design more interesting. Okay, I'm happy with the designs of my popsicles. I can sweep my scraps to the side. You can save your scraps for another project, or you can recycle them. Now I'm ready to turn these into popsicles. So I'm going to turn them around. I'm going to get my 3 popsicle sticks, and you can probably guess what we're going to do. We're going to glue these, and this glue is actually really strong, and it should work really well as long as you press and hold your popsicle stick for like 20 seconds. Press it down really good, use your artist's hands, and let that really stick for a good 20 seconds. And you want to do that to all 3 popsicles. You can leave your popsicles like this, or you might want to create a background. I like doing splat art, and I think it goes good with the popsicles. So I'm going to glue these on a background. You can make any background you want. The way I did my splat art is I first made sure that I put a paper under it, because it may get a little bit on the table. Okay, and I took my watercolors. First I need to make sure I put my glue stick away, so I'm going to make sure it's down and cap it. Now I can move to my next step. And the way I did this was I just dipped a brush in water, picked up some color, and I just gently hold my brush in one hand and tap it with the other. So again, you can try that if you'd like. And now I'm going to glue my popsicles down in a row like that, because I think that really looks like a nice complete piece of art. Okay, you did it. Thanks for making art with me. I hope you had fun, and I hope you enjoyed making your design popsicle art. See you next time.